friends, we're talking current favorites today, and I'm gonna be putting them on. I don't know that I have an entire full face, but I'll just be chatting about them as I go because there have really been some great products lately, some things I've really latched onto, and some of them haven't necessarily been talked about a lot yet in other videos. So it begins with primer, and I've got a couple of good priming steps. Remember when I did my little undeclutter, like I meant to declutter, but instead I found a bunch of things that I was just like, oh yeah, I love that. This little depuffer stick from Wet n Wild. Feeling so nice. I've already done my skincare, but this is just a little, like, why do I feel like my skin just deflates or something the moment this touches it? Feels so good. It's a nice little convenient stick. It has the thoughtful secondary cap to keep it nice and juicy, and I really have had this on hand for a while, and it's still just like it was new. So I have that on here. It doesn't make you like too overly moisturized. You'd still want to use your eye cream, I think, but it's a really soothing first step. And then this primer has been coming in like just within the last week and a half for me. I've been using it quite a bit with a number of different foundations, and I've had some really good staying power days on some very hot days. Like, we're in another heat wave over here. Really cool mornings, you know, classic Midwestern fall, and then by the afternoon we're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so hot. So it's got this little thing. This comes, I should have shown that. This is thoughtful, Milani. Look, zhunk, hidden tool. You're gonna use your little hidden tool to just scrape off a bit of this. Just a little. And then I kind of like blend it between my hands, get a bit more spread, and then just spread it out all over my skin, and it feels kind of silky, kind of rich. The richness is the immediate feeling, and the silkiness is what comes as you just get it fully blended. It's not like it feels super thick or anything. But I just feel like it's played well with a lot of different steps that I do. If I'm doing a light kind of skin tint, it looks good on top of this. If I'm doing a full-on foundation, it also looks good. I remember getting this when it was new and trying it and saying, I'm gonna try it some more, and then it just kind of sat there for a while, but I like it a lot. And I do feel like my skin has been a bit more oily than usual, so you should know that. I'm more on the combo side lately. On foundations, I feel like I have skipped around a lot, but the Catrice ones have really been getting it done for me. I love the HD liquid coverage, and for a while I was thinking like, oh, I'm a little more oily, I'll just focus on that one. But anytime I switch up that pattern and I throw on the True Skin, I'm like, wow, the True Skin can really wear a long time too. Like, it's impressive. I kind of dubbed this in my head as, oh, that's the more hydrating one, but it actually can wear a super long time too. So I'm just gonna put that on today. That's a fave, and I was really impressed by the True Skin concealer on a terrible staying power day, like a hard day for staying power. And then this stuff actually looked pretty darn good by day's end. And then I used it to help me save a bad staying power day too. So this is neutral sand. This is the foundation. The one thing is about the pump, I don't know if anybody else's does this, but even after you've pumped, a little bit seeps out as the pump raises back up. So you always get just a little bonus amount of foundation. It's okay. I prepare myself for that. But man, this year, what a rediscovered brand, Catrice. They have just been knocking my socks off left and right. And then somebody was like, I had just done my Catrice Labor Day haul, and then maybe it was the next day or something, someone was like, have you seen all the new stuff on Catrice's website? And they've had like a zillion new launches. And Catrice PR actually contacted me and asked if I would like to try some of the new things. So I filled out the little form. I'm like, yeah, please. So maybe I'll be getting some of that soon. But yeah, I've just been impressed with so many things. But I'm just glad that, like, even with new little things here and there, this product remains solid in their line. And the other one too looks so good and fresh on my skin, but the coverage is gorgeous. It's giving me like a House Labs kind of feel when I'm done putting it on. And then I have this concealer, the True Skin Concealer in Cool Cashmere. It has coverage, but it's kind of light. If you've ever used the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in an attempt to like make your under eyes look more fresh, get really good coverage, but still have kind of some hydration, to me this feels like a lighter take on e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Like, still gets the job done coverage wise, but it's just a lighter feel. And then I've been using the heck out of this one. This is for sure an MVP, the Morphe M132. It's that chunky angled brush. I need to wash it, honestly, but the shape and size is just excellent. And it's my little concealer spreader. Spread it around, not doing the full blend, just spread. And then back to the foundation brush you used. Just tap it in. Or if you have your like e.l.f. complexion duo brush in the mix, that's a perfect one to just like use the smaller side to get the blend started or get the spread started, and then use the larger side to tap it all in. That skin. That's drugstore, that's $10 or less products. And it's not even brand new stuff. Like, I was on the scene with those products a long time ago, and I've come back in. I've made the repurchase. I've been like, oh yeah, I need those again. They're just so great. I gotta do a couple steps that I don't necessarily have a new favorite for, and I'll be back. So I moved on and I powdered, and I used things that I just kind of always love, you know, the Fit Me Loose Powder in Fair, which really, like, I've got to take a pause on the light pink powders, realizing this one's actually the brightest thing. And then my Super Stay Hybrid Powder Foundation in 128. So loved, use them all the time. Classic all-time favorite status. And then I use this Maybelline City Bronzer in 300, which is creeping in because I like the sunniness that it gives my untanned skin. I don't know how I'm outside so much. I guess it's my Super Goop every single face sunscreen, SPF 50, but I'm out in the sun a lot and I'm not getting any of it. But my next favorites are kind of funny because they're both dual lip and cheek items, but I kind of like one more on the lips and one more on the cheeks, but they're both good either way. But these e.l.f. ones, these e.l.f. stains, like I like them on the cheeks too, but I find myself using them more frequently on the lips. Like even if I'm touching up, I'll be like, ooh, let's put on an e.l.f. stain and then like throw a gloss on top. So I'll get to talking about those more in a minute. But then also the Too Faced Cloud Crush, completely different texture, light, fluffy, whipped, mousse-like, and they're good on lips and cheeks too, but I find myself gravitating a bit more toward the cheek with these. But again, a totally good multitasker, that's why I'm drawn into them. I really like this shade called Headliner. I feel like their more muted ones are kind of my top ones. Actually, like I like several of these. This one called Bed of Roses and also Milk and Cookies here. I want to get into the red soon. I'm probably going to do like a reel or something with the red, but this one called Headliner is a very good like little everyday shade. It's still got some richness, but you just pop like a small dot on the cheeks and the blend ends up being really quite easy. I start small so I can build if I want to, but look at how like quick that became one with my cheek. I love these. And they are truly pretty and very long wearing on your lips too. But we've just got two different products here, two different multitaskers that I turn out to love. Okay, we just got it started. Let's add a little more. That'll probably be it. And these smell like, it just smells lightly sweet. It's so pleasant. But Too Faced, are you gonna like throw us a fall palette? Are you gonna throw us a holiday palette of any significance? Like I see what you're doing. Just some small little pieces. See, there we go. Love that cheek. Like, I can't describe the lightness of the texture makes it so easy to blend, but yet there's strong pigment in these, so the staying power actually ends up being really good. But I like them lips and cheeks, and same with the e.l.f., okay? I just kind of had to pick a job for them today since I'm talking about both. Then here's a neat little thing I've been playing with highlighter-wise. Morphe has these various little powders and they're called Cloud Light. And this is the one called Dawn. It's vanilla with balancing pink. It's the lightest one that they have. And I think it's kind of Morphe's take on sort of an ambient lighting powder vibe. There are some that are deeper, more like bronzers on me, and I need to experiment with those more. I have a feeling I'm gonna like those too. But the texture is very like solid to the touch, okay? You're not gonna like tap your finger in and have a cloud of product, but then look, there is pigment there. And for me, like I know this would probably be really pretty all over the skin, but it actually makes a pretty super soft targeted highlighter too. Just look how pretty this is. Okay, I'm going to use my Real Techniques setting brush, but like look at the absolute most gentle little pearly glow I'm achieving right here. It's highlighter for people who do not want the traditional shimmery highlighter feeling. It makes your skin look radiant, but it's also like weightless. It's a non-texture component. It's a powder without texture. Really giving me an Hourglass vibe, although Hourglass just doesn't usually turn out to have a highlight really like this. It's glowier than an ambient lighting powder, not as glowy as what they typically label a highlighter in their range. But look at that pearliness. I'm just enjoying that so much. When I think highlighter these days, I'm like wanting to pop this open. I've got to get into some of the other shades they have. I received them in PR, and this I think would be terrific bronzer. This one may be a lighter take on bronzer, and this one called Sunrise, possibly like a nice all over, gently glowy setting type thing. But this is the one I've been into the most. Okay friends, I continued on and I just did my brows. I used the Morphe Nano Pencil in Java, the Micromanager Gripping Brow Gel, and I just love both of those products. And then for eyeshadow, I do feel like I've been bouncing around so much on eyeshadow. And by the way, do you guys remember when I used the Naked Brown blush from Wet n Wild, and I like made a whole video around it, and I used it on the cheeks and I used it on the eyes, turned it into eyeshadow? Well, I did that on a short video that I did the other day, and I blew a bunch of people's minds. They're like, wow, that's great on the eyes. I'm like, hee hee hee, I love that. Bouncing around on the eyes, but there have been a couple of like real standouts. This Pumpkin Spice palette from Profusion is excellent. There is a whole video about it and a tutorial and stuff, but these fall tones, like if you're wanting an affordable kind of jewel toned take on fall color, I think you'll enjoy this one. It's fun. It's got a lot of mattes, but it's got some shimmery pops, but they're very like rich and pigmented. I think Profusion did a great job with this one. So if you see that out and about, you might consider it. Another one though from Profusion that's a non-limited edition product is this Nudes palette. And this is another one where I look at it and I'm just like, oh, I love using it. Every time I use this, I get a great look. It just always looks so blended. The shimmers really pop too. It reminds me of Patrick Ta Major Dimension 1 when I just glance at the color scheme. And I think I'm going to use this one today. And this is like a $5 palette. I need some Milani eyeshadow primer first. It's just one of those that you can count on. You know, I could see it being a lot of people's everyday easy palette. Enter Bisky. I'm coming in first with this shade, the middle of the bottom row, and there is a lot of pigment and softness in these shades. So I guess when you tap in, just tap in like one time. You don't need to scrub or anything, which is really just phenomenal. To find a nicely pigmented, really consistent, little goes a long way drugstore shadow. And I really like this kind of honey mustard tone. My outfit is kind of cool today, but I still feel like this eye look, this very neutral, gonna be brownish eye, it's fine anytime. Then I'm going to the next shade over. It's kind of a soft peach. How much are you knocking over? And that's your On the Border blending shade. Makes it really easy. On the border of the last shade, and it just softens it out. And then while we're just kind of working up in that zone, we got another matte right here at the end. Or you could use a shimmer if you want to, but I just love the smoothness and the perfected look of one of these shades coming right up under the brow. And now if you want to get into some of the deeper shimmers as you're like working in your crease and stuff, you can go for that. Those can sheer out, those can be part of your look as well, but I'm going to hang into these for my outer corner. Specifically, I think I'm going to take the darkest one today, right here. Just tap it on the outer corner with the Morphe M303 or whatever flat brush you like. I just feel like the Morphe M303 has made my life easier because what in the world? The Morphe M303 has enough fluff at the tip that it actually does reach your crease. Love it. Super duper easy there. Want more shape? Take a smaller brush. Maybe we'll go to the next shade over, right there. And take it straight to the crease, but then blend outward. It could be a beautiful all matte eye if you want it to be, friends. But look, I'm just extending it out. I'm giving myself a little more shape and drama. Well, the left eye got the action first with that today. See, look what we've done. We're just raising it up. We don't have some really stark shape, and we'll continue to blend that too, but it's just hazing up. I would take the crease brush that you were working with also and just blend around the outer edge of all that. It's great, and if you wanted less drama, then just skip that last step I did with the small pointed brush, okay? Come inward on the lid. You know, I am going to keep it matte today. I'm taking my Morphe M302. Let's make sure it's not got dark stuff on it because I've been in a lot of different eye palettes lately. I'm going to go to Clay right here, this peachy one, and it looks just like kind of a smooth nude on my lid. Let it come and overlap a little of the darkness. Look how nice and finished. The last time I used this, I'm almost certain I pulled in a shimmer on the lid, so I guess this gives you a slightly different take on it. But for right around $5, my friends, You can't argue with that. And then this rolls us right into another favorite because I feel like I have been looking for any reason to pull in my Smoky Lace Shadow Sticks. So in case you didn't know, if you didn't catch it earlier on in past videos, L'Oreal did release a smoky range of the lace shadow sticks. I'd done an Ulta order and I got the ones that were like the most colorful. Like they've just got some dark smoky ones, but then there's Twilight Emerald and there's Starry Bordeaux. So a deep green and a deep like wine color. And I feel like anytime it makes sense in my look, I'll pull these in. I'm always using Brown Abyss too, a classic, but like I think I'm gonna use the Starry Bordeaux today. They're really nice and deep, but they've got that pretty color. I just love it when the look specifically calls for one of those, you know? So easy. I'm applying like no pressure. And then I might sometimes just slightly blend over it with my finger, but really not much is going on in that department. Like you don't need to really touch it again. And then maybe a little on the outside. Just be careful because these smoky ones are darker all around than the other ones. And a lot of product can lay down at once. They're just so soft. But they set for long wear. And yes, I love them. Okay, gang, I finished off the eye. I did end up taking just a little bit of the darkest shadow to smudge out my shadow stick that I put in the outer corner because it just seemed like it needed that. But then for mascara, I used my Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect because I feel like this tube is probably getting to the end of life and I need to just go ahead and finish that off. And then the e.l.f. Lash Extender on the lower lashes. I will say, in terms of favorites, I have been using that Too Faced Ribbon Wrapped a lot over the past month. It really is good about staying power. You know, it's a tubing mascara. You really can trust it, but I love the way it lengthens out too. I love the way the brush is. That's kind of the X factor about that. It has the little nubbies right to the tip of the brush and I can just be like out here at the end of my lashes and be like, oh, turns out I had some decent lashes there at the end of my lash line that I don't always catch with other mascaras. But I'm just reinforcing the curl as this dries. And then my last thing to mention really is these. I've been bouncing around a lot on lip liners, on glosses. I've been sharing tons of different lip combos on my shorts videos here on YouTube, or you can find those on Reels on Instagram, or you can find them on TikTok, okay? I've been really coming up with lots of fun lip combos. One of them included the Cherry Cola shade. I loved the way that lip turned out, the Cherry Cola lip. So these are my two favorite stains currently, the Cherry Cola and then the one called Plums Up. Okay. I also own their traditional red and the pink. Those are great too. But I love the way e.l.f. packaged these stains. I love the staying power of them. And we're just going to use the plum today. But look how nicely they put this like funnel thing in here. And I just love that things aren't seeping around the outside of your tube as you take out this product because they realize it's pure liquid. Okay. It's a liquid stain. And I'm going to take my doe foot and just put this plum all over. Give me a second. Oh, it's sheer, but it's beautiful. This is like, okay, I'm going to go out and do something today. I'm going to volunteer at the school. I'm going to do whatever. You can gloss this up, but once that wears away, you're going to have this nice, works with anything berry kind of stain. I love that. Maybe I will go ahead right now and put a gloss on top. You know what's pretty on top of that is the Mulled Wine Fruit Fetish from Milani. I do love Milani's seasonal collection, particularly Mulled Wine and the Hot Cocoa. Those are my two top faves, but I did work the pumpkin spice into a pumpkin spice lip on a short video, and that really, like, it was a perfect tone of pumpkin spice lips. So check for that. I've been busy, but we're taking Mulled Wine here and just topping it off. This completely falls in line with the color of the stain. I just feel like I've got a couple of really great multitasking types of products with the Too Faced, one totally different texture, and then these complete liquid stains. How great is that? And my lips feel so comfy with that Fruit Fetish lip oil on top now. But there's the look today, my loves. Just really a pretty everyday look for me, but using and spotlighting a lot of those products that have just been so good lately. I would love to hear what your current favorites are in the comments section. What can you recommend to me? Or also, what do you want to see reviewed? I'm still keeping my feelers out for any good holiday things that I should be reviewing. And I do plan to have reviews to come on the things I haven't yet talked about, like the Natasha Denona palette is going to get a full review. The blush sets and the Tower 28 set that I got, those will need to be reviewed as well. So yeah, let me know what you want to see and I will see you all again very soon. I love you. Bye.